everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Yarn and Ewe Girl Podcast. I'm Janine, your host, also known as Yarn and Ewe Girl on the internet. And welcome. It's Friday. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today, or whatever day it ends up being that you're watching this. I truly appreciate it. So today is September 15th. This is episode 37. And if you're new to the podcast, thanks for coming and checking me out. And if you're a returning viewer, I love you guys. You're amazing. Thank you so much for coming over and sharing a little bit of your time. This podcast is mostly about knitting. Occasionally I do some sewing and other crafts, but it's mostly a knitting podcast. And today I have a couple things I wanted to share with you guys. I have a finished design project, some other works in progress and things like that. I did some yarn dyeing, so there's a shop update and some knit along news as well. So super exciting. And yeah, let's just get started. Okay, first I want to talk about my 700 subscriber giveaway. I hit 700 subscribers the last episode, and so I opened up a thread in the Ravelry group, and we had 23 entries for that. I used random number generator to pick the winner, and the winner is going to get, I was going to just pick a skein of my hand-dyed yarn and gift it to the person, but I think maybe my color choices aren't everybody's color choices, so I wanted to let the person who wins pick any of the hand-dyed stuff that I have on my website. So any of the Yarn and Ewe yarn, even the dyed to order stuff, unless except for the striping. So the self-striping is out, but any of my one-of-a-kind colors, I have classical sock. There's a bunch of colors dyed up on that. And then I also have some dyed to order stuff that you could pick your base, and I could dye a skein for you as well. If you do choose that, then it's going to take me a little bit of time, and it won't get to you as soon as you know. But some of the stuff that's one of a kind or ready to ship, that will go out soon. So I thought that would be a little bit nicer for you guys if you're the winner. And let's just get to that, because I did random number generator, and it picked number 12. And, oh, where did I write it? The person who was number 12 was Threads All Over on Ravelry. Her name is Caroline, and I think she lives in the United Kingdom, it looks like. So congratulations, Caroline. You win a hand-dyed skein from me, and you get to pick. So head on over to my website, which is yarnandewe.com, and browse the Yarn and Ewe yarn. So I do have other brands on there, but those are not up for giveaway, just my hand dye. So pick anything that you like. If you want it on I can do DK base, or I have a couple different sock yarn bases, so you get to choose. And let me know here, either contact me through Instagram, which is at Yarn and Ewe, or on Ravelry, which is Yarn and Ewe Girl, with a private message, and I will get your information and find out what it is that you want. Remember, the self-striping's out. Sorry, that's a little bit more involved. So we're just going to do all the hand dye and other stuff. So yay! I love giving away stuff. Anyway, speaking of giving away stuff, we do have a knit along that it started September 1st, and that is the gift along knit along, or I'm using the hashtag GalCal, and you have to knit, if you want to, or crochet something for somebody else for one of the upcoming holidays. It can be anything you want. It doesn't have to be a certain size requirement. It can be, you know, a work in progress. I don't care. I'm just wanting to help everybody kind of get into that gifting mode that's coming up here soon, because before we know it, all our holidays are going to be, hitting us. Time flies super fast. So anyway, that's what I wanted to do to help kind of get everybody into the spirit of gift knitting or crocheting. So anything counts. There is a Ravelry thread in the Ravelry group, which is the Yarn and Ewe Girl Podcast group. And there's a chatter thread and a finished objects thread. So go on over there. In the chatter thread, we're kind of talking about what we're doing for, like, what our inspirations are and what we're planning on knitting or crocheting for other people. So we would love to have you guys go over there and give us your ideas, and maybe it'll help inspire somebody if they're not sure what to make for a family member or a friend this season. That might be really helpful to them. So that's the gift along news. And I did get contacted just recently by a indie yarn dyer. And I think, I need to figure out where I wrote that down because I don't want to get it wrong. So hang on. Okay, so I got contacted by Megan of the Little Fish Stitches Yarn Company. So she is on Etsy. It looks like her Etsy information is Creations by Guppy. I'm not sure if that's the most current, but she is a new independent dyer, and she's offered to throw some prizes our way for the gift along knit along. So thank you so much, Megan. That is super exciting. I can't wait to see what you've got for our group over here. Super generous of you. I appreciate it so much, and I love her yarn. If you guys have a chance to check it out, she's on Instagram as Little Fish Stitches, and she has some really beautiful colorways. And I know Lacey of the Knitted Cupcake has talked about her yarn before as well, because she's a Pacific Northwest girl also. So hi, Megan. Thanks again. So that should be coming soon. I'll be keeping you guys posted as soon as I get that information. I also have I showed you a prize package. I have a sock kit that is a skein of sock yarn and some beads and a pattern that is also I'm gifting away, and I have some tea, so I'm collecting my gifts for the for the knit along. So be sure to, if you do make something for somebody else this season, make sure to go over to the Ravelry group and enter your finished object in there. And it goes all the way through December 24th. So that's all the business, I think. I'll show you guys the shop update stuff at the end after I talk about my design and works in progress and things like that. So I have one finished object, and I'm wearing it. So I'll take it off and show you. This is my new design, you guys. I'm super excited about it. I was showing you last time how I was playing around with some brioche two-color to make a cowl, and this is what I came up with, and it's huge, and I love it. And I'm going to try to do, I'm doing a second one. I'm going to start that because I literally finished this yesterday, blocked it, and dried it. I have one of those, I think it's for sweater drying. It's a mesh square, and it sits up off the ground, and you just lay your sweaters out on it. And the airflow, from the room, it airs it out from the bottom as well as the top, if that makes sense. And I guess these are stackable. My mom had a couple of them at one point where she would lay a sweater on it, and then she set another one of those mesh things on top, lay another sweater, and so you'd have airflow for your sweaters to dry quicker. So I use that, actually, for my blocking sometimes, because I don't necessarily pin stuff down. I just kind of lay it out. If I feel like if it needs pinning, I'll pin it, but and then I'll do it on a towel and on the floor or something, because I don't have any blocking mats. So I just use my carpet, because the carpet's got the carpet pad underneath. You can totally pin down into the carpet pad. It works just fine, right? So I just laid this gently, I just gently blocked this yesterday because it stretched out a ton. And I didn't want it to be too loose, and didn't want it to grow too much because I could already tell it was big. And it's so interesting because on the needles, it really doesn't look that big because I'm just using a smaller cable. So what I did was, so at first when I was practicing with this stitch pattern, I was going to make it lengthwise actually, and I was going to do like this whole repeat, and it was going to knit up like that in like a long tube, and then I was going to provisionally do a provisional cast on, and then Kitchener the 2-color brioche, which, you know, that's fine. First of all, that's really a little bit more involved, and obviously the brioche stitch is a little bit more involved to begin with, so adding provisional cast on and grafting to the cowl I thought would be really intense. I didn't really want to make it that difficult for people because I know that the brioche itself is already difficult. So this is the large size. The yarn I used is just yarn I had in my stash. It's 2 different Malabrigo brands. The main color here is Malabrigo Rios in the Lotus colorway. That's this purpley and slightly variegated color. And then this one is Malabrigo Worsted, so it's a single ply, and I believe it's in the emerald color. I did use about 1.5 skeins of each for this. So like I said, this is the large size, and then I will be doing one that's about a little more than half the size. So I'm thinking that other one might end up being like this. I'm not sure. It turned out a little bit bigger, and I've got some other, so I might only need to do 3 of the repeats to make the small cowl. So we'll see. But this is it. I need a name for it, you guys. So I would love name suggestions. I'm going to be, I'll post a picture of it in the Ravelry group and ask for, put a thread in there for name suggestions. And if I pick your name, I will gift you something. I'm not sure what yet, but I'll send a little gift out to the person who comes up with the most creative name. Also, I will be needing some stitch. Oh, sorry, that's my phone. Let me get rid of that. I will be needing some test knitters for this. So if you do want to test knit this cowl, let me know. Contact me on Ravelry. In the Yarn and You group, there is a Calling All Test Knitters thread. You could post in there if you're interested. You do have to know brioche stitch. You should know brioche. It shouldn't be brand new to you. That way, you know, you can tell me and be helpful with the pattern and how it's written and stuff. So if you're interested, I don't have the pattern completely written up yet, but that I will be working on this upcoming week. So I'm just throwing it out there right now. So this is going to be coming down the pipeline. Keep your eyes peeled and help me figure out what to call it. So I just love it though. It's super cozy. It's done in worsted weight. Super cozy and nice and big. So it doesn't, like, I like cowls a lot. I don't like it when like all you see is like this big, like it's too tight. Like it needs to be long enough or just one loop that's small enough to just kind of drape nice. So this one I think turned out perfect for that. I think that the it's not too small. Like sometimes the loops end up too small, you know, and you if you're gonna do a large cowl, you do want it to have a little bit of a drape. I wanted it to be nice. And even you know, when you see the underside of this, that was the whole point too of doing it in the 2-color brioche. It looks nice on the reverse side, even though, because sometimes I feel like with the cowls, if it's not reversible, it doesn't look as nice as I would like it to be, or I want the pattern side to show, and I can't get it, and I fidget with it a lot. So I think this is good kind of fix for that, doing the brioche. Really enjoyed knitting this, and I've kind of been working on this quite a bit exclusively for the last 2 weeks since I saw you guys. I really played around with a couple different ways to do the pattern, how big I should do the leaves, and then kind of decided that I do it I like the pattern going this direction instead of lengthwise too, because I feel like the lengthwise might have looked, I don't know. I like this though. Anyway, so that is my new design. I was working on another design last time I talked to you guys as well, the sock design, but I haven't had a chance to even like touch those. I'm trying to focus on my sister's socks that I, have been working on for like over a year, and trying to focus on some other things. So this is the only finished object that I have. The other things that I've been working on this week, like I said, my sister's socks. The yarn is Ancient Arts in the Frost Flower colorway. And this is just a vanilla sock pattern. And last time I showed you guys, I had just cast it on. Oh, guys, sorry. Don't mind this. So this, I have a friend who sells lip scents. Do you guys know what lip scents is? It's this lipstick that is supposed to last all day. And I really like it. I've been, like, what I'm wearing is lip scents right now. But so I wanted to get, like, a brighter color. And so you test it. I was testing it on my arm yesterday at work. Well, it stays. Like, literally, I've showered, and I, can't get this stuff off. Unless, they do have a remover and everything for it, so it's fine. But that's what's going on with my arm. I don't have a weird rash or anything. I was just trying out lipstick. Anyway, so Frost Flower is the color. I've got maybe about half of her foot done. Remember, I showed you guys her cardboard foot, and I showed you how, sorry, pardon me, I'm reaching for it, how big it is. So I think, yeah, I'm only about halfway on her foot. I need to get to here before I can do the heel. So, and the foot cutout comes from, I don't know if you guys, I've said this before, but the foot cutout comes from the Fish Lips Kiss heel pattern. It tells you how to, figure out where to put your heel in exactly. And you've got these little cardboard cutouts for everyone in your family, and you write their name on it, and that's how this is the sock pattern for this person. And then they're supposedly help, get perfect socks every time. And so far they've worked really well for me, but I've not had another person's foot template before like that. So anyway, I have 2 half foots done, and this is the yarn caked up. It's just this lovely, kind of micro stripe, gray and neutral with little flecks of blue. And the blue is really patterning out kind of in like a spirally, even on both of these, you can see how it's sort of spiraling out. So that's interesting. I wonder if it's going to do that for the rest of the sock. So that'll be cool to check it out. So that is that. Nothing super exciting going on with that one. And the other work in progress I have that I showed you guys, I've been kind of a little bit on this one, not a ton, but this is my Walt painted chevron baby blanket by Danielle of Fiber Space, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. The baby blanket looks like that, and I'm making a little bit larger version. It is, I'm using Knit Picks Swish in worsted weight, and I'm using 4 different colors. And I've just, when I showed you guys last time, I had just started the blue down here, and so I'm on to the second section of blue here. I'm making it a little bit bigger than the pattern calls for, but I'm thinking it'll probably end up being like a lap blanket. It's not necessarily going as a baby gift, but I'm not sure. It depends on how big it turns out. I might give it to my nephew, who we'll see. He's a huge blanket fan, loves blankets. He's 5. It might work out okay for him. and it's blues, and there'll be like a yellowy mustard color in here too. I've showed you guys the yarn before. The only problem I'm having with this is like it's not mindless knitting, it's chevron, so you're doing either increases on one side or decreases on the other, and I have lost track numerous times because I've not been paying attention, and I'll get all the way to the end and I'll be missing, a stitch will be off or something. And what I need to do, and I plan on doing before I really get going any more on this, is place stitch markers where all the increases are, so that at least I can tell where on one side where stuff is, and then I can kind of figure it out from the other side, because I've been frogging so much, or not frogging, but tinking so much, each row I'll do this whole row, and then I'll get to the end and I'll have to, tink back and figure out where I screwed up. So I'm going to place stitch markers at the repeats or at the increases or something so that I can figure it out. I'm just hoping I have enough stitch markers. I'm sure I do. I just don't usually use them. And when I do use them, it's like I just use whatever I can find. I've even been known to tie strands of yarn around the cable of my, knitting needle to keep the space, because that's all I had at the time, So I don't know. I have a bunch of stitch markers, but they get lost in the process. But anyway, so this is I've got the work in this bag, and I've got all the yarn in my giant, laundry bag, Yarn and You laundry bag that I made. So this is actually going to be a perfect blanket bag. I think once the blanket starts getting bigger, I will just transport it over here, and this should be perfect. And oh my gosh, guys, I think I found all my stitch markers. They're at the bottom here. I'm shaking the bag. Hey, there's a notions pouch under there. I was looking for that, yes, the other day, because I started a new sweater, because I had a really bad moment. Anyway, I started a new sweater, and I needed 1,000, it felt like 1,000 stitch markers to mark every single little increase and decrease. And anyway, I didn't have them all. I didn't know where it was. But I had a moment, guys, where I've been working on that breathing space pullover from Vera Valimaki for a long time, and I put it on the other day when I was working on the arm, because I'd worked on the arm. I showed you guys where I'd gotten probably to here, on the arm, and I put it on to kind of see if I'd done enough arms, and I'm like, I think it's too big. I swear, I know it's too big. What do you think? And I asked my husband. That was a big mistake. He goes, well, what kind of look are you going for? You're going for the moo-moo look? And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, if it looks like a moo-moo, that is not a good sign. It's time to frog the sweater. So now there's nothing wrong with the pattern. The pattern is beautiful. My stitch gauge was off, and so because I knit a little bit tighter, my gauge was off, and I decided I would make a bigger size. Well, I guess my gauge wasn't off as much as I thought. Sorry, yawn. I guess my gauge wasn't off as bad as, it wasn't that bad. But I was making a 38, and my chest is not a 38. And so it was literally it comes to here, and then it starts to kind of drape out like this and go down on one side. When I turned to the side, it looked like a tent, on my body. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. And I didn't want to keep wasting time on it, on a sweater that when it got done, I wasn't going to wear it, because I have some knit sweaters in my closet that I'm actually considering ripping out and starting over with something else, because they've been sitting there and I have not worn them, and I don't want that. If I put that time, sorry. Sorry. If I put that time into the sweater, it seems wasteful to have it sit in the closet. So I'm just not going to do it. If it's not going to work, I will rip it out and I will do something else. So the yarn, the sweater is all ripped out. That was kind of a pain in the ass to rip out, though, by the way, because it was all striped, and so you'd rip out like 2 rows, and then you'd have to rip out 2 rows of another color and rip out 2 rows, and it was like, it took me all night just to rip out, but that's just what happened, and, you know, whatever. So I decided I had to start the other sweater I've been wanting to make, and I've been wanting to make the So Faded, which I know everybody's made the faded stuff, but I hadn't jumped on that bandwagon yet. But I do like I did decide I wanted to make this sweater. I like it because it's a simple pattern construction, nice pullover. I really think I like pullover sweaters, and I had bought some yarn already for it. So I went ahead and started that. I did not do a gauge swatch. So I'm hoping that this is okay. And I'm making a size, the 34 size. I should actually check my gauge right now while I'm talking to you guys because, let's see. Okay. So I don't know what the pattern says. I'll have to look it up. But I'm going to write that number down because I got 25 stitches in 4 inches, it looks like. So hopefully that will be okay. But anyway, I started. I'm thinking it'll be fine. This yarn is Whip Yarns. Let me see if I got the tag. It is, I bought like a fade kit from her. This Whip Yarns. It's the Sock Rock base. The first color I'm using is Castle Stone. It's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It looks like this. Here, let's see. It's this gray with these flecks of teal and goldy orange in there. Really, really lovely. I am doing the garter sleeve. This is my first color. So that's the Castle Stone. Really pretty. The yarn is it uses this same needle size that the Breathing Space sweater used, but this yarn is not as plump as that, so I feel like the stitches are a bit smaller. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not, it should come out okay, because I feel like if I went, I would have to go up a needle size if my gauge was too small, right? And I feel like my the fabric wouldn't be very good at all. But right now it looks okay. I like this yarn though. It's very lightweight. It doesn't feel like super heavy. So, but that's the first color. I've got a second color and a third color. I'm just going to do a 3-color kind of fade. And so far, I'm really enjoying it a lot. So, I don't know. You know when it's on the needles like this, like you can't really tell how big it is. But I did put it over my head, and my head fits through the hole. So that's good, right? So I hope that this one works out. If not, you know, I'll rip it out, and I'll move on and figure something else out. So that is my So Faded by Andrea Mowry, and I have been working on that. Now that I finished this design, I've been working on that sweater quite a bit because I really wanted to make some progress. I felt really frustrated with having to pull out the Breathing Space, but it is what it is. That's what happens. So those are my works in progress. I didn't do any new work on my Sizzle Pop shawl. It's sitting right now because I was really intrigued by the brioche design, and I wanted to kind of work out that in my head, get it out, get it on paper. I also have written up the lace or the beret that I made for my mother-in-law, and I've had that tech edited by my friend Naomi Frost. Thank you, Naomi. She's just starting her tech editing business. I don't have all her information yet, but I will be sure to gather, like, if she has a website and anything, I'll be sure to gather that. So if you're a budding designer and you want somebody to tech edit for you, she's amazing. She's Fiber Frosting on Instagram. And yeah, she's really, really great. She's a friend of mine. So anyway, she looked at that for me, and I am putting together her suggestions and kind of finishing up the pattern, and should have it published on Ravelry soon. And that's just going to be like classic beret, something like that. I'll keep you guys posted. I am going to fix the name a little bit, so we'll see. We'll let you know when it comes out. Okay? Anyway, so that's that for design and upcoming pattern information. I do have some hand-dyed yarn that I was playing. So I was playing with some color. I have a show coming up here in October. So I was dyeing up skeins for the booth, and I was just kind of playing around with some color. So these are one-of-a-kind colorways. They're available in the shop now. They're under OOAK and whatever the sock base is. They're all on sock yarn. So I have a couple in a sparkle base, in my rock and roll base, a couple on the jazzy tweed base, and a couple on my alternative sock base, which is the just a 75-25. And they're all available for purchase in the shop right now. And whatever doesn't sell, I will just take with me to the show. So the first one is, I'm going to show you the rock and roll sock ones. It's funny too, because I feel like there was sort of like a theme. Like I would pick a skein out of the water, and I didn't really realize it, I wasn't playing, like, considering if it was alternative sock or if it was the jazzy tweed. I just kind of was, okay, let's do this one, and let's just put this color here, and let's see what happens. And so some of them, I feel like there was a theme sort of that went along with some of the bases, especially the jazzy tweed. I feel like all the colors kind of were in that blue purple family, and these ones, the colors were kind of like peachy, and I don't know. Anyway, whatever. But the first one, what is taffy, and this is on the rock and roll sock, and it's this pink and peach and purple color. And then the second one, also on the rock and roll sock, this one is called Circus. And it's like reds and bright blues, and there's a little bit of green and yellow and orange. I posted pictures of these all on Instagram as well, and they're all up on the website. And then the last one in rock and roll sock is Neapolitan, which is this purple, pink, blue. You can see the sparkle on that too. A little bit of peach in there. So those are the rock and roll ones. And then I had a couple skeins of the jazzy tweed. Now the jazzy tweed is the ones that have the colored tweed neps instead of the white, I think, or black maybe is the normal tweed. So these have rainbow colored tweed. So this one is Wisp. And then this one is Overcast. It's got some purples and a little bit of pink. And then this one is Scrap Heap. It's got rusty orangey brown, some dark purple, dark blue. I want to try to figure out how to recreate this one because this one was really cool. And I think I know what I did. It was actually one of those where I put the color in the pot when the water wasn't like simmering. And then I was like, oh yeah, I have to turn the heat on, you know. And I turned the heat on, and I might have turned the heat on a little bit too high to begin with, and it started to bubble, and the bubbling like moved the color, and it looked like a brown sludge in there, and I was so scared. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to end up with this like poopy brown color. Oh, I'm so, what am I going to do with a poopy brown color? But when it came out, you guys, I was so excited. I love this. I don't know if everybody else will love this, but I loved it. I thought it was so cool. So I think I'm going to try to do some more. So anyway, that's Scrap Heap. I don't know about the name, whatever, And then I have 4 colors on the alternative sock base. So these two are really interesting because I dyed these 2 in the exact same pot at the same time. And this one came out more blue purple. And this one more green and purple. So this one is Sweet Pea. And this one is Iridescent. And it was the way they were laying in the pot. And I was being just really like, oh, let's pour a little of this color here. And let's pour a little of this color here. And see what we get. And one of the skeins got more of the green than the other one, or it blended differently. It was just so interesting. That is the coolest thing about yarn dyeing is it doesn't always come out the way you think it's going to come out, and you do have to be careful sometimes about the colors that you mix because you have to think about the color wheel and what happens when you put yellow and blue together. They make green, like you have to be thinking about that kind of stuff because if you put them together or close to each other and you don't want green, you're going to end up with green, and different shades of it. It's very, very cool. So those are those 2. And then I did this one. This one it's called crepe paper. It's just this very light, minty sort of green with a little bit of purple sort of hues in there. That was kind of fun. And then this last one is Stratosphere, and it's oranges and purples and pinks and a little bit of blue. So those colors are all one-of-a-kind colors. They're all up in the shop. Head over if you're interested in any of those. If you one of them you fell in love with, go over and grab it before it's gone because there's no duplicates of those, at least not yet anyway. So that's what I have for shop update. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk to you guys about today. I don't think so. So that's it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy your families. Enjoy if you have to work. I'm so sorry. No, I do have to work this Sunday. So football season has started, and my husband's a huge football fan, and he does the whole fantasy thing with multiple different leagues. And so he was actually scheduled to work on Sunday. But I'm a pharmacist also. He's a pharmacist. And during the football season, if he has to work on Sunday, I work his shift for him. So I'm going to be working this Sunday, and I hate working the weekends, but it's okay. I don't really care. I'll watch football. I like football. I enjoy it, but he wants to follow the guys and make sure all his points were in, getting there and this and that. So to me, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, that's what I'll be doing this weekend, is working. So if there's any of you guys that are working also this weekend, yeah, we'll have a fun time together. But anyway, that's it, you guys. That's all I got today. I've got lots of ideas popping, and I can't wait to see you guys and see, what's out there. And that just, yeah, that was so silly. Sometimes, you guys, I don't even know what I'm talking about, and it just like blah, 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 and nothing makes sense. So I'm going to stop talking right now. Except I do want to talk about one more thing. Sunday. I'm so excited, you guys. Because Outlander Season 3 started last Sunday. I love Outlander. I'm super excited. I can't wait to watch the next episode. So if y'all are Outlander fans or not, and you should really check it out. I love the story. I've told you guys about the season, the books before, and I know that other podcasters out there talk about it too, but I was pumped because the last time in April, I thought that season 3 was coming out, and it didn't come out, and I think it was a big old April Fool's joke, and I was so disappointed. So it was really nice to see it back. And I'm looking forward to that this weekend. That's pretty much all I'm looking forward to. But now I'm going to really stop talking because I don't have anything else to say. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Bye.